Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. Today I want to touch into a mini series I'll be starting. For how long I really don't know, that really depends on you guys. But I'll be actually making lots of mini videos breaking down popular anime and manga styles so you guys can learn to draw ideas here. Before anything, if you like these kind of videos, please remember you can always support me with a simple like or sub. And with that said, let's jump straight into the video. For today's video, we're going to be touching into the Jujutsu Kaisen anime. We're going to be looking at both anime and the manga, so we can reference both. And to make it simple, the anime will always have a more crisp or defined look compared to the manga, which is more stylized and dynamic to show movement. As you can see in this picture right here, the anime looks more stylized, it looks really crisp, really defined. So rest assured that I will be definitely going over both styles, but before we even go into the tutorial, artists like me are always in the thirst of watery substance, right? Especially when locking on those long hours drawing JoJo poses, or just trying to hit a musty flick on Rocket League. So if you're a sweaty gamer or an artist like me, you should definitely try Gamer Supps today with the link in the description. Just so you know, this wasn't sponsored, but I'm just recommending it. So if you guys want to try it out, please hit the link in the description, and you'll be supporting me a lot. Now then, let's get into the topic of the video. We are going to start off making a list onto what things to practice and what makes JJK different from other mangas. To start off, we're going to be focusing on general proportions, face structure, line weight, and much more. But because I don't want to go all over the place, we're going to be starting with lines. Okay, so for line weight and line techniques, we're going to be starting with this lady right here. As you can see, this is from the actual JJK manga. If we start off, we can see that it has a lot of lines everywhere. Of course, it has a lot of lines. What the hell am I saying? But what you can see is that these lines have patterns, okay? Sometimes it's thinner on some sides and sometimes it's thicker on some sides, okay? Generally, when you're looking at these drawings, lines are going to be thicker on edges and shadowy areas of characters, okay? Lines also become thinner in areas where light touches the character. Extended lines gradually become thinner until reaching another edge. Also, this is another example here. You can see on the neck, again, like you can see how it's thick. Shadow here under the jawline, and also line thickness varies within a single line, okay? Thicker at the edges, like I said before, and thinner at the middle. To finish off with this last example here, because it's really easy to get it, okay? You can see how its whole line right here is thick on the edges, and then in the middle is very thin. And also with this little cube right here that I drew, don't ask me what is this, because I really don't know. I was just trying to do something. You can see how the cube illustrates the thick and thin line pattern, okay? Okay, so now for faces, we want to understand the structure behind every face, okay? That's one of the things that we're always going to be needing in order to draw any style that we want, okay? So to start off, I chose another lady right here. I chose specifically this one because her facial structure is very blocky, and that's helpful to understand face structure at first, okay? So as you can see, I broke it down into face planes. It is very important to know this because if you don't know face planes, you're going to be having a really hard time drawing any type of face, mainly because it comes naturally as you draw more and more. But doing this in the beginning, especially if you're a beginner, is going to help you a lot to understand how faces are made and how basically the structure of any anime character is made, okay? Another thing you can do is basically color the planes in different colors to make it easier to differentiate between planes, and I'll leave you a link in the description. It's Asaro Head. It's basically a 3D head with face planes that you can do to practice. I usually recommend you just go into Pinterest, find faces to draw, and then basically use this Astro Head to just practice. If you want to draw the Astro Head alone, go ahead, you can do it, but it's gonna be really hard for you because if you're a beginner, it's gonna have a lot of sides, it's gonna be very perspective wise, and it's gonna be really hard, and it's just like basically boring sometimes. So at least for me, I just don't like to draw the Astro Head alone. I like to get some side reference and then try to draw that person. Just get some JJK practice right here with the Astro Head and go ahead and break them down. That's God tier exercises that you can do. You're not gonna get them perfect the first time, especially if you don't know facial structure. And okay, so if you want to get them look right in a sense, because I don't think my drawing is doing justice to the style, but if you still want to practice more and more with the style, you can go ahead and get real people and draw it in the style of JJK, and then you're gonna be able to internalize that information way easier, okay? But with that said, let's move on to the next thing. Alright, now we're gonna be trying to do a Jujutsu Kaisen character. I'll pop the reference up on screen for you all to see, but it's basically Yuji in a fighting stance. You might wonder why I'm using a manga panel instead of an anime screenshot. Honestly, while the anime is absolutely fantastic, I find most of the times going back to the source material is a perfect way for learning. You get to see the mangaka's original line work and style before it gets adapted. It's a great way to study the core of the art. Now let's get loaded up. Now that we have this reference, the best thing to do is start breaking down the drawing. A great way to do this is just to draw it on top of it. I'm using a digital tablet to draw this, but if you want, you can also use a regular sketchbook and pencil. If you have the ability to draw it digitally, it can be a really helpful thing for understanding what's going on. Okay, now we're going to break the face into simple planes. It's not as hard as it looks. I'm starting with a huge circle for the cranium, as we need this for the basic facial structure to get started. Now I'm gonna go into the Astro Head 3D model and grab this screenshot of this Astro Head. And this is basically what you're going to be doing most of the time. As you can see here on the right side of we got Yuji, and on the left we got the Astro Head. We're going to do this most of the times to break anything down. First is a huge circle. As I said before, this is called the ghosting method. It's one of the best things to do and one of the first things I learned. It's basically just practicing how to draw circles really well. It's an amazing skill to have. Then we'll draw another one that separates the head. If we turn off the reference, this is generally how the face looks in the manga or anime style. Now turning it back on will break it down into more simple shapes and planes, using the Astro Head to guide it. Now the thing is, with anime heads, it's a bit different from realistic human heads, but the fundamentals are still there, okay? Don't stress about it too much. One note is that the right side of this Astro Head is more complex than the left. So if you want to draw it simpler, go for it. Like I said before, don't stress about it. I'll do it the regular way, but don't feel pressure to do it perfectly, okay? I'm just separating the head into different planes here, connecting the jaw to the upper part, and then the area under the lip. So after breaking it all down like this, you just try to do your best to translate the shapes from the reference to your drawing. Alright, now with this head reference we've made, we can start doing the actual drawing. I usually try to stay away from all these intricate planes, as I said 1000 times. I usually just look at the reference and try my best to replicate how they're drawn. You won't get it perfectly, so the more you practice, the better you'll get. If you don't, your drawings might end up looking like this. I know it looks bad, okay? But that was my first day drawing JJK. It looks like Megumi on drugs, basically. If you don't want to end up like this, you have to practice regularly, okay? There's no exception to that rule. Now we're just going to draw up this point because the manga panel cuts off here, and honestly I don't want to do more work than I have to. Alright, filling in some black areas now for his uniform, doing the neck, and now we're pretty much done with the main drawing. Now it's the moment of truth. Let's put my drawing next to the original reference and see how it goes. Okay, I feel like I did a really good job. And with this method, I'm not an expert on drawing JJK, to be honest. And this method made it feel not as hard as I expected. So now let's get into the real reference on the left. Let's put my drawing on top of it and see what I could have done better. Okay, most of the head is partially good, but I can see I made the face a bit small. And this is what you guys will be doing most of the times: comparing, correcting, and learning. Repeat the process, okay? I'm sure that if I went back and practiced the same drawing 10 more times, I'd probably get it almost perfect, and you can too. So if you guys like this kind of videos, please leave a like and subscribe down below. That's gonna be helping me a lot to keep creating content like this. It takes a lot of time to create videos this specific, and it's not an easy thing to do, okay? So you'll be supporting me a lot this way. It's completely free, and like I always say at the end of every single video, keep shining forward just like a star. I'll see you on the next one.